Stefan, it's so nice to have you here. Welcome. Yes, and to everybody that's here with us tonight, I know we're going to keep adding as we move along here, but you're in the right place. You're in the Be On Air Forum, which is our professional webinar series that really likes to introduce our attendees, our students, our alumni, and anybody else who's interested in learning a little bit more about the industry that they love and how they can grow and network and really find success for themselves. So for tonight, welcome, everybody. For those of you who haven't met me, my name is Linda Lejeski. I am the National Employer Representative of the Beyond Air Network of Media Schools, which is Ohio Media School, Illinois Media School, Colorado Media School, and Miami Media School. And we are so fortunate tonight to have one of our alumni with us, somebody that many of you know through Ohio Media School, but many more of you know just by following him, and that is STEFAN Johnson. And I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to give you an introduction because you're a very, very special person, not only in my life at Ohio Media School, but to so many that are a part of this. And so, yeah, you're welcome. What I really, really would like to share is that when I think of superstars in the industry, the thing that they have in common is that they have a lot of passion and a lot of determination. Those things go hand in hand. When I think of the GOAT, right, the greatest of all times, that's a very, very special place that somebody can hold in an industry. But when I think about you, I think this is my friend who is going to be the GOAT. He already is, but he's really going to be the GOAT as he continues to move along the pathway. And the reason I say that is that all those great qualities that exemplify somebody who's successful are really embodied in you. And I know, blush, blush, you really don't like for me to talk that way, but I think back to how we first met, and it was messages on LinkedIn. You know, it was your
Mhm.
determination that you wanted to meet somebody at Ohio Media School who maybe could help you to do this or get you connected to that. And we started our conversations that way. And you were that eager guy that just was wanting to build, build, build. But it didn't take you very long until you figured out, right, that social media and talent and hard work and determination and coaching and doing one thing, trying not to be afraid is really what it was going to take for you to be successful. And so I think, like, I even think about your logo and all the changes I've seen in your logo as you emerge to where you are today. So I say to everybody here, while I know you all have a relationship with Stefan, whether you know him or not, you're really going to be in for a treat. We all know that he has close to 7 million followers on TikTok. Now that's amazing in itself, but not only is his branding so successful, but his work ethic makes him successful. He's a big-hearted guy that cares a lot about our schools, about our programs, about our students and our graduates, and about the extended family that's outside the voiceover community, et cetera, et cetera. I could keep on going. So I ask everybody to think of those questions that you might have as Stefan gets started. Please be sure to put them in the chat because Huda and I will be monitoring the chat. We will open your mic because we do want you to have a chance to use your voice, which is so special, to talk to our special voice that's with us tonight. I'm not going to take one more of your minutes away, but with that, let's learn about how we can be a better brander, how we can build our network, how we can build our brand and just grow in the industry. And a huge welcome to you.
I appreciate that gracious introduction. I'm always happy to be a part of everything at the Ohio Media School. For those of you who don't know, I graduated Ohio Media School back when it was the Ohio Center for Broadcasting back in around 2009. I graduated thinking I wanted to get into radio, but then I realized I didn't exactly have a whole lot to say as far as like being a disc jockey, you know what I mean? But I figured like if you could put a script in front of me, we could probably make some magic happen. But even then, it took me a while to kind of take it seriously. At the time, I was in a band. I was a manager at a restaurant, and I thought I was doing big things. So I took my time to do it. But then about 8 years ago or so, I started to really realize that I hate every job I've ever had. I've always managed to make progressive movements, become like supervisor, manager, better pay, flexible hours. I had jobs. I had jobs that people would kill for it, but I was never happy. And I realized why I wasn't happy was because I wasn't doing anything I loved. I was working for the man, and I was like, I can do better. So then I started to pursue voiceover seriously. I began to build my studio. I began to seek out clients and build a brand, build my website, build my dedicated social media platforms. And I managed to take the leap into becoming a full-time voice actor about 3 or 4 years ago. And it's been chugging along ever since. And then the pandemic hit. And things were still kind of chugging along, but I had a lot more free time on my hands because I'm also in a few bands, some of and I have a lot of, extracurriculars I do, like going out to karaoke and hanging with friends, but a lot of that slowed down because of the pandemic. But then I started to hear about this app, TikTok. I kept hearing about TikTok, kept seeing on Facebook and Instagram about TikTok. I'm like, what the F is TikTok? So downloaded the app. I'm like, oh, okay, it's fun. Little short form videos, remnant of Vine. I don't know if any of you remember Vine, you know what I mean? Short form content. And it started with me just posting dumb videos of me observing life, you know what I mean? And then I started to make dumb videos where I did music parodies. And then, of course, the voiceover became the brand for a while, and it was making content around that. But then I fell into the niche of food content. I made a video randomly, completely randomly, of the top five fast food French fries of all time. Thought I was gonna make some friends laugh. Thought I was gonna piss off some friends. Create some conversation there amongst friends. I woke up the next day and that video had like 300K views, and I had about 50K followers from like 1,000 followers to 50K in like 24 hours. I'm like, okay, so I might be onto something here. You know what I mean? And it kind of started to snowball from there. But today we are going to talk about what you can do with your social media and how we can build it to build your brand or just to have a whole lot of fun. So I'm a nerd, so I have a list. So if you see me peering off this way, I'm a squirrel-brained guy if I don't have a list. So excuse me here. All right. So number one, I think if you're here today, you have some kind of set goal as to where you want to be or how you want to use your social media. So that's my number one tip, is to clearly define that goal. It can be as, cosmetic as saying, I just want to be a big social media influencer. That's a noble goal because that could take you a lot of places. Or your goal can be, I specifically want to use this social media to build this brand, to build this business, to increase visibility on my brand. And it just has to kind of start with defining which goal is that, because that's going to kind of guide you from there. Next, you kind of want to learn about your audience. You want to pay attention to the industry or the niche you want to be in, or that you found yourself in, or that you fell into. You want to pay attention to trends. You want to pay attention to what's industry standard, because there are certain trends that unfortunately you don't want to conform to. You don't want to be a conformist, but you want to stay relevant, and you have to stay mindful of what's hot in the industry, and you want to be a part of that conversation. And that leads me to my next point. You want to be one of the people creating these conversations. Now, with me kind of falling into food content, food is one of those things where we all have a very strong opinion about food, whether it's our favorite pizza spot, whether it's who has the best um, tacos, or who has the worst snack cakes, like the Star Crunch. They suck. We all know that. That's a fact, of course. But we all have strong opinions, and it's not like religion, and it's not like politics where you'll be willing to slit someone's throat over who has the best French fries. You know what I mean? It's not that deep, but you can have some nice, fun, semi-heated conversations without going over the top, without things boiling over. But anyway, find a way to create a conversation within your industry. You want to create the content that's going to create comments in your comment sections, because some of my wrestling fans out there remember that Eric Bischoff said controversy creates cash. Well, on social media, comments create cash, because the more comments and engagement you have on your posts, that's going to spark these algorithms that every social media website and platform has built in, little robots, robot minds that are going to tell you the more comments and more engagement you have on your content, the more these little robots are going to say, okay, we're going to push out this content to more people because the people that they already have involved really like this content. So you want to make sure you're creating conversations on social media. And to do that, that leads me to my next point. You want to include sometimes, maybe more so than often, because that's kind of how my website, my social medias um, kind of began to flourish. Include personal interests or your hobbies into your online presence. Now, me, again, I'm a voice actor, but yet 95% of my content is talking about cakes and pies and cookies. Make it make sense. Why does it make sense? Because I'm going to create the traffic to my profile, build the platform, talking about something we can all relate to. The burgers, the fries, the cookies, you know what I mean? Because we all love it. You know what I mean? But every once in a while, I pop in there and say, hey, I'm a voice actor too. Check out this voice acting content. Um, and I've even found a way to make it comical. Some of you may follow me and see I do like the comical voiceovers of like current events or like freakouts or animal videos or stuff like that. You know what I mean? And even just me just talking about food. You know what I mean? I'm talking. People are going to hear my delivery, hear my voice, my cadence. And guess what? They're going to be like, oh, this guy should be a voice actor. They go and look at my profile. Oh, guess what? He is a voice actor. Maybe you'll hire me. And it's funny because the majority of my big clients right now, my big voiceover clients, I gained from social media talking about cookies and pies and snacks because just that's what's getting the eyes on me right now. My agency, I'm with SBV in Los Angeles. They're like one of the biggest voiceover agencies in the world. They found me, which is a rarity. Most of the times, those big agencies, you have to reach out to them and pray to God they open your email. But I woke up to an email from them saying, hey, we love what you're doing on social media. We see that you already have this clientele and that you're a working voice actor. Let's talk about something. And then before I knew it, 2 weeks later, I was signed to one of the biggest voiceover agencies in the world, and they reached out to me. And that's led to me being one of the main voices for Bally Sports and Fox, Doritos, doing stuff for Cartoon Network, doing stuff for Church's Chicken, KFC, McDonald's, working with brands on the campaign side, on the social media side with like Fridays and Planters Peanuts, like the list goes on. And it all started from me talking about cookies. You know what I mean? Fries. So including your own personal interests in your social media profile, it can spark a conversation completely left of what your niche is of the topic of your brand, but you just never know where it'll lead to because you're creating conversation and you're getting more eyes on you, and you are the brand. Um, and from there, my next bullet point I have listed is to not be afraid to collaborate with others, because sometimes we all have to start from somewhere. We're all going to start off as small creators, and there are a lot more small creators out here than there are, excuse me, bigger creators. So one goal you can have is to link up and network with as many of these smaller creators as possible, about the same size as you, and hopefully they're in the same niche. They don't necessarily have to be in the same niche or industry as you, but you can, work together. You can create content together, guest star in each other's videos or posts, or share each other's posts on each other's pages. Share your visibility. And then a few of your followers will go follow them, and then a few of their followers will go and follow you, right? And from there, you're just kind of cross-pollinating. That's one word I like to use for it. It's cross-pollinating, and building something from there. Um, and from there, it's just really a matter of finding a niche, and you'll fall in and out of different niches too. Because again, like I said, I started just doing like observing life commentary just making funny statements about things in my personal life that's happening. And then I, decided to go into the voiceover content. Of course, I'm like a voice actor. Let me do voiceover content. And then I fell into like music of all things. I fell into doing music parodies because a dumb song I posted acoustically on acoustic guitar took off. So I started doing that. And then the food, you just don't be afraid to experiment as well, because they say in media all publicity is good publicity. So even if you're blowing up because of your opinions on sports, you know what I mean, your opinions on nerd culture like Marvel, or like Pokemon or something like that, whether it's fashion, cooking, you know what I mean, don't be afraid to experiment with content outside of what you feel like your niche is going to be, because from there, just just opportunities will present themselves. Um, and I don't know, it's only about 15 minutes worth of, tips and tricks or whatnot. But honestly, I feel like if you follow those 5 or 6 tips consistently, oh, I guess lastly, I also had is consistency. Now, the thing about social media and with anything, it's not going to take off overnight, because it's a grind. It's going to take a while for these algorithms to realize you're serious, because these algorithms don't really support um, flakiness. You may post 5 times in one week and then don't post for 2 months, and then post again in 2 months, and you'll get frustrated like, oh, why aren't I getting views on this post? Because your audience isn't looking out for you. The algorithm has given up on you. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of you posting consistently, and it doesn't have to be 5 times a day. It doesn't have to be every day. You can post twice a week. But as long as you're posting twice a week for a while, you're being consistent, and the algorithm is going to pick that up. You're going to find a rhythm. Your audience is going to know your routine and be on the lookout for you. They're going to know that Jacob posts every 2 weeks, that DC is going to be in, going live once a week. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be daily. It doesn't have to be multiple times a day. You just have to realize that some form of a schedule needs to exist, because people need to be able to depend on you. The algorithm wants to see that people are depending on you, and it's going to be a slow grind. You may find yourself. I've honestly been trying to be some form of a content creator for about 10 years. I've done stuff on YouTube for, I started posting food reviews on YouTube, I think almost right out of high school, probably around 2010, at least. Nothing ever really took off. But like, I've always just posted little goofy videos on Facebook and YouTube, Instagram, dumb stuff. You know what I mean? And here I am. It's 2022. Things started. Things are just now starting to get big. It's going to take a grind. It could be a grind. I'm not going to say it's going to take 15 years, but you can't be discouraged if it doesn't take off immediately. And a lot of my friends, it's sad. I've actually just posted something on Facebook this morning about not comparing your journey to other people's journeys, because I've had a lot of friends come to me and say, "Oh man, me and you started doing this at about the same time. I'm doing something wrong, man. I feel like a failure," or whatever it is. And it breaks my heart to see that people are looking at my success and being discouraged by it, because not everyone's journey is the same. Not everyone's ride is going to take the same road. You know what I mean? It may take you a little bit longer, but you got to just look at where you're trying to go and not look too much on how long it's taking you to get there. Sappy, it's cheesy. It sounds like a made-for-TV Disney movie, right? But that's what it is, honestly. So you just got to be consistent. You got to just find your path and stick with it. And eventually, if you're dedicating, you're making good content, you're going to grow. The first few videos or first few posts are going to be cringy. You're going to look back at them a year from now and be like, why did I post that? But you have to start somewhere. You'll grow. You'll find that rhythm. You'll learn what works. You'll learn what doesn't work, and you'll grow. And it takes us 12 years to get out of school. You know what I mean? It's a process. And the social media game is the same way. It's not going to be fast, but it's rewarding as hell if you do it right. So that's really what I have. I can't wait to hear like what questions you guys have, because I'm hoping to kind of dig into you guys. You know what I mean?
That's good. So we're going to open up the floor. If anybody, has a question or a thought they want to share with Stefan, he's your guy now. We've got him here. and he'd love to be able to help you. Maybe as they're thinking about their questions, you made me think about something that I know a lot of people have challenged with, and that's looking to the right and looking to the left and
Mhm.
not staying focused. So maybe some advice on how to use what you see to the right and left. You talked about collaboration earlier.
Mhm.
How do you grab a hold of some of that energy and bring it onto
Yeah.
your team to become successful? What would you offer on that?
I mean, I would just say always staying on top of trends is a great thing and just seeing what works. And you can always put your own spin on things. Because one thing you don't want to do, you don't want to copy, because one thing, the internet is harsh. So you don't, if the second that someone sees that you're straight up copying someone, that's going to do nothing but be a detriment to your brand. But the thing is that you want to try and you pull little things. You can see how this creator, speaks. You can see how this creator has a nice background. You know what I mean? You look back at your background, like my background is a mess, but you may look at that and see like, oh, hey, I like that. Let me try a little bit of that. You know what I mean? You can just pull little bits and pieces, and again, it's experimenting. Maybe you'll go and get this whole background, and you realize it's not me. It doesn't fit my aesthetic. You know what I mean? Don't let that discourage you. It's going to be little incremental movements that end up making you flourish. So just try new things.
An evolution. Good, good.
Mhm.
Hey, Huda, do you want to call on our raised hands?
Yeah, I see a couple already raised. I know there's some questions in the chat too, so we'll start with the hands. James Jones, you're up if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, I started taking my YouTube channel more seriously,
Yeah,
3 weeks ago,
good.
and I spend nights, hours and hours in the middle of the night. Keep in mind, I'm up anyway because I just had a daughter. I have a 7 week year
Oh,
old.
congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm up all night figuring out how to study the analytics of and pay attention to trends, what work, and without copying and pasting someone else's idea. And
Mhm.
I can say the process I made in like the 2.5 to 3 weeks is amazing. I got like 50 new subscribers, so now I'm at 100
Very good.
subscribers,
Nice.
and it's going good. Like the process, like you said, it's not an overnight thing, but every subscriber I get, everything I've been doing as far as it may be vlogging, I learned how to edit properly. I learned how
Yeah.
to do better at my thumbnails, and all the success I have been getting. Every subscriber is a small step of success to me. But you mentioned collaboration.
Mhm.
Where do we go to find collaborations with people who have smaller channels just like us?
Got you. Really quick, before I even answer that, I would like for everyone to put, if you're on social media, let's have a follow party. Put your social media or whatever you want to plug right now. Let's put it in the comments real quick. I know the moderators are going to kill me. But I know it's a lot to keep up with, but let's support each other. Put whatever you want to plug. Put it in the comments, and let's all follow each other. You know what I mean? Let's get each other some growth. But as far as finding collaborators, what you want to do is just type in like whatever your niche is into YouTube, Instagram, whatever hashtag relates to what you're doing, and find someone who's small and add them. Just add them, follow them, or whatever it is, and send them a message. And just say, and I'll preface this: make sure their content is actually something that you like. Make sure that it's actually something that you would want to support. But once you find some smaller creators where their content aligns with what you're doing, or even if it doesn't necessarily align with what you're doing, but you like what they're doing, and you have some ideas on how you can work together. Um, just reach out and say, hey, we're a similar size. We're both doing good things. I'd love to collaborate with you, and you guys can throw around ideas that way. That's a great way to start, in my opinion.
That's a great question, James. Thank you. And thanks, Stefan, for that input. That was awesome.
Mhm.
I see Tiara has a question. Tiara, you want to unmute and ask?
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Well, how are you?
Great, great. So I've been following you for a while. I love your content, and I'm actually studying film and broadcasting,
Nice.
and I've been wanting to like start a TikTok and try to get put myself out there because I also want to pursue voiceover as well. Have you ever
Nice.
had like a brand partnership? I don't want to say conflict with a voiceover gig. Like, let's say like, because I want to go into promos. Let's say like Peacock reached out to me to do like a brand partnership. Is there like an opportunity to like see if like I could also voice I know it's separate, but like I don't know if you get kind of what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Like you get a brand partnership that's like solely like a social media post, but you also want to explore conversations with potentially working with them in like the film and voiceover realm. Is that what you're
Yeah.
asking?
Yes, definitely.
I got you. Yep, that's happened. I had a brand partnership with Doritos, where like I helped them push some kind of, it was like a Super Bowl like wing flavor they had like last year. And they kept my contact because I told them like, hey, you know, you guys obviously know I'm over here. I'm also a voice actor, right? Keep my contact if you need anything. And I always preface my brand deals after they're done with that. So they reached out a few months ago. They're like, hey, we have this new promotion with Stranger Things and Netflix called Down from the Upside Down. Live from the Upside Down, where basically they're setting up a concert of a bunch of a real life concert with a bunch of 80s artists and someone else from like modern day, and they needed someone to host to voice the promos, and they thought of me. So you may have seen YouTube commercials and ads for Live from the Upside Down for Doritos and Netflix and Stranger Things. That's my voice, and that all stemmed from me doing a social media campaign with them and just letting them know what else I do. So absolutely, that's a possibility.
Awesome. That's very, very helpful. Thank you.
For sure.
That's awesome. Thank you. And I see that a lot of people are putting their information in the chat. I know someone did mention that it is easier to follow if you guys include links, because that way you can just click on it and it'll take you right there. You can hit that thumbs up or that follow button and it'll make it easier than them having to search. So keep that in mind as you are sharing your social media handles and names and things like that. Moving right along. We've got Anthony. I know that you have a question. I think you put it in the chat, but if you want to ask it, Anthony, that would be great too.
Hello. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, Stefan. So I've completed 2 audiobook narration projects on Audible, and I started a 3rd today. And
Very good.
what should I do next for social media? Because it looks like I'm already getting jobs on Audible with, I don't know if anyone's even looking for any presence online for me outside of that site.
Gotcha. Well, one, hats off to you because audiobooks are the one area of voiceover I will never tackle again. I did one and it's a marathon. Those things are ridiculous.
The 2 I did were
Yeah.
2,500 words apiece.
Oh man, see, like that grind. I always say I'm a sprinter. I'm not a marathon runner when it comes to voiceover. Anything
Well,
like
those
long
are
form.
short books. It's
Yeah.
being generous to call them books.
Oh, I feel it.
They're not bad. They're just very
Yeah.
short.
Oh, I got you. So yeah, hats off to you for even entering that realm. But as far as next steps, as far as social media goes, it's always good with the publishers or the client's permission to share what you're doing. Like to maybe even ask for permission to share an excerpt of what you've done, maybe like a couple sentences of like your read, you know what I mean? And that's like kind of the base form of social media for like us voice actors, just sharing our gigs and letting that be the content. And then one cool thing a lot of people like to see is the behind the scenes of it. Like maybe you do a mock version of yourself recording, like you take your phone and record yourself recording the book, like record yourself video wise recording a sentence, and then actually after that's done play what's recorded, you know what I mean? And you can make it fancy with like some visuals behind your reading or whatever it is. But people love to see the behind the scenes of how us voice actors do what we do. So start recording yourself, recording your audios and make that content. That's an easy way to do it.
One of the 2 authors already, when I asked him for a hard copy of his book, and he sent it to me free. So
nice.
I'm thinking maybe an Instagram page that where the handle clearly identifies that I do audiobooks, and then maybe post a photo of the cover of every book.
Yep, and that's one thing too. I'm glad you mentioned that. Be very clear on your pages about what your ultimate goal is. Let that be the very top of your page. Because, like, despite me being the food guy on every platform, my name is S. Johnson Voiceovers. It should always be very clear to anyone who visits my page to what I actually do, what my career is, what you're going to see on my page. So always, it doesn't have to be in your username, but like whether it's in your bio, whether it's in the description of your videos, make it very clear as to what you want people to pay attention to. So I'm glad you said that. You're on the right path.
Yeah, and I'm considering making a web page that shows up everything I do, because I just mentioned in the chat, I also wrote and published a book this year. I work part-time at a country radio station.
Nice.
It's, well, to be frank, it's such an easy job that I literally spend more time drinking coffee than doing my job. I record 3 minutes of content per hour.
And Anthony's got some good things going, but I know for him it was definitely big on the voiceover. So
absolutely,
I think you gave some great advice as far as it sounds like it would be a win-win for him to post an excerpt of what he did. He's showing off what he can do, and then it's promotion for the book too. So
yes,
I think that's great. Awesome.
Definitely.
All right, we've got Matthew with his hand up. Matthew, go ahead with your question.
Hi, Stefan. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I actually was really curious how you overcome the adversities that come with the industry.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, or do you mean with voiceover specifically or social media?
I'd be specific to social media in this case because that's more of my niche.
I feel you. I feel you. Well, the thing is that you kind of have to go into it and understand that it's a monster. 95% of the people you come across are going to be welcoming, engaging, beautiful people, and then you're going to come across that 5% that don't want anything to do with you, and opposed to just scrolling past your content. They want you to know they don't want anything to do with you. Contradicting, right? You know what I mean? I don't want this man to exist, but let me engage with him and have a conversation with him about why I don't want to know he exists. You know what I mean? People are like that. And the most you can do is don't be like me. And again, I know a lot of you follow me on social media, and you probably see that sometimes I post my interactions to kind of let people know how not to be on social media. But the best way to do it is just to ignore any haters. And as far as like, adversity, as far as like, just, some things may not seem fair on social media, whether it be like, I don't know, socially or just any, bracket of some kind of struggle you can have. You just have to push on, because you got to understand that you can do a Google search or a hashtag search and you'll find people just like you doing what you want to do on a big level, no matter what religion, gender identity, no matter what political, side of things, no matter what upbringing, no matter what current situation. There are people that look just like you, living the exact same type of lives, going through the exact same things you're going through, and they're making it happen. So sometimes it just takes a quick search to find these people, to find that motivation, and to say, if they're doing it, why couldn't I do it?
Thank you.
100%.
Thanks, Stefan. You said something that I wanted to comment on, and now it completely slipped my mind. So we'll get back to it.
Okay.
We do have some questions in the chat. They're buried in some of these social media.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's just I don't want to miss anyone. So guys, if I don't get to your question, please repost it. I'm going to go on to the next person so we can kind of keep going through the questions, but I will look back through it and try to get some of those answered as well. One of the questions I did see was about just contacting you after. I know that we, Linda and I especially, we love to tell people to follow you and kind of listen to your demos to get some examples on how to do things and stuff like that. But especially over the last couple of years, I know it's been very difficult for you to continue to connect with some of our graduates and students just because of your schedule. And we love that you're so busy, and we understand that. So if people wanted to maybe reach out or connect or learn a little bit more, what is the best way? Like, do you recommend they just kind of follow you on Facebook? I know you post some great videos on YouTube as far as getting into the voiceover business. I've seen that
Yeah.
as well.
Mhm.
So, what do you recommend? What's the best way for them to kind of stay in contact?
I would say IG is probably where I'm most like active interaction wise. Because TikTok is my biggest platform, but things are just so chaotic over there. It's hard for me to really interact with people. Um, and YouTube isn't really, I'm not terribly big there, so I don't really stay over there too much. I would say Instagram or Twitter actually are the best ways to find me and interact with me. I'm more in the comments responding over on those two platforms. And then I'm also happy to receive emails. Emails, if you can catch me on a slow day, I'm always responding to emails with people asking me questions or whatnot. My email is standby. Let me type that in here.
And while you're doing that, I did remember what you said that made me think of something. You mentioned that you do post sometimes about your interactions on social media, right? And I think that's fun for people to see, but also I notice a lot of times you don't share that publicly. You only share that with people that you're already friends with.
Yeah.
Which, maybe I'm sure you have a big friend base on Facebook, but I
Mhm.
think also it comes with, and correct me if I'm wrong, like once you get to a certain level where you've already gained that popularity, then it's okay to kind of show those interactions and that engagement maybe with some of those people that aren't so friendly versus,
Yeah.
doing it when you're still early on and kind of
Yeah.
turning people off.
100%. Yeah, like I said, I share that in like this conversation just to say don't be like me, because
Yeah.
sometimes it can be a lot to kind of just always ignore the hate, because honestly, you'll be surprised. The one thing, like I just said about food, I said food is one of those things where most of the time people won't get extremely hot over it. People won't, get all in your face over it. But there is that 1%. And I get that 1%. I've had people call me the worst of the worst over me saying, like literally like 2, 3 weeks ago, I made a one's got to go thing where I have 4 different options and I say, which one has to go? I had a guy in my Instagram DMs who wanted to find out where I lived to not do some not great things because I said I like grits opposed to eggs. Now, this man got hot about breakfast food. So again, you don't want to elicit those type of responses. So don't go sharing your drama. Don't be like me. Be better than me. Because there are some crazies out there, especially when you're a smaller content creator. I think I don't get a lot of the flack as I could get because people see that I'm a bigger entity, and I could bring down the wrath of God by sharing their name on social media if I wanted to. But I don't. Like you said, Huda, I usually keep that on my personal Facebook to get some
Yeah.
chuckles out of friends. You know what I mean? So be better than me.
Yeah. No, that's
I
good.
just want to say one thing, Stefan, have you found that there's people that just kind of cruise to do that kind of thing? They
Yes.
really don't, whatever you say, they're just going to say something else just
Yeah.
for giggles, right?
Yep, because on TikTok has actually a good feature where you can, like, let's say you see, and I've done this quite a few times, someone leaves a negative comment, right? What I'll do is I'll go on TikTok and search their username. And then if you search their username in the search bar, you can see, well, one thing that will pop up is other tagged comments that people have tagged them in. Because, like, you type in a username and you'll see where other creators have responded to negative comments on their page. Like you'll see Trish 555, and you'll see that 25 creators have made responses to her comments on their pages, negative, hateful comments. You know what I mean? So you'll find that sometimes these commenters, they just go from page to page putting negative comments because they obviously hate their lives. They're obviously miserable, and they would like to see as many people miserable as they are. You know what I mean? So sometimes
Agree.
some people just
Yeah.
live for it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right,
Oh yeah.
let's keep moving along. I see Tyshell has her hand up.
All right. Hello, I'm
Hi.
Ty.
Hey.
I'm getting straight to the question. So I'm a TikTok, like I call myself a TikTok influencer. Both of my lives are on the FYP. So I was
Nice.
trying to figure out, like, I want to be a big content creator, but not really like I do duets and stuff. I am the one that really helps people get followers and stuff like that.
Nice.
So I'm just trying to figure out like what's the next step because like I'm viral on my lives. Like my lives, I could be on live for like 2 minutes and have over 500 views. You know what I'm saying? And
Nice.
that's my live. So people like me, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying
Yeah.
not to make followers. I'm trying to make friends because they
Yeah.
stay loyal. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I don't want a viral video. I want to keep the flow of what I'm doing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, what I would say is one thing you can do, if I remember correctly, and I'm terrible at going live. I don't do it as often as I should. But one thing you can do is, if I'm not mistaken, TikTok has a feature where you could download your lives.
Yeah,
When
I do.
when I would download my lives and repurpose those lives as content. Take the most exciting couple 15 seconds of those lives and post them as content. And if people are in the conversation with that live, they'll be in the conversation with that live posted as actual content. And then whatever like natural format or natural flow you have in your lives, maybe you can do commentary videos, like whatever you're talking about in your lives. Maybe
Yeah.
just like set up a camera and just start recording, not live, about a topic. And, even if you have to piece it together afterwards, there's something about your natural flow that's keeping people engaged in your lives. And you just got to
Yeah.
find a way to consolidate that into 15 or 30 seconds, and it'll pay off.
Okay, yeah, because I was just trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, well, this is already going a good direction because I have two pages. I have my main page and my backup.
Nice.
My main page has been going on for 2 years, but my backup page has only been going for 6 months and it's doing more numbers than my main one. So
Really.
somehow I've managed for it to like teeter totter because I've always tried to balance about posting on both, but it's a lot keeping up with two TikTok accounts
It
with over
is.
3K followers, you know?
Oof, yeah, that's gonna be a struggle. I mean, and the thing is that it's a happy struggle because you see that you're growing.
Yeah,
But one thing I can say is sometimes it's better to focus on whichever one's doing the best, and
right,
just kind of don't let the other one go by the wayside. But maybe put
right,
75% into this guy and 25% into this guy, and let the other one give you kind of a backup. It is a grind because burnout is real too. About Christmas time last year, I got really burnt out, and because I have about six different social media pages, or social media entities I manage, and then I have two on Instagram and two on TikTok as well. So all in all, about eight that I was managing and trying to make separate content for, and it's burnout is real. And I had to
right.
even make a whole dramatic post like, "You guys, I'm worn down. I'm gonna take a few weeks off." And being my rabbit brain, though, 24 hours later, I was still posting content because just ideas come. But you need to kind of sparingly create because once you burn out, it hits hard, and you don't want it to keep you out for long. So just be careful with that.
I know I'm gonna go live
Yeah.
on one. I try to make like at least like 3, 4 content posts, on that
Hmm.
one, that
Yeah.
account. I let that one sit, but it's like if I let
Hmm.
that sit for a day, I have like 80 notifications, and I gotta go through my DMs and all that because dance creators want me to do their DCs, like they'll
Oh,
cash out
nice.
their DCs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Nice. Very cool.
that's great. Thank you. Thank you for that, Tashelle. And Janae, you are up next.
Hi. Sorry, I'm in a grocery store,
No,
so
no
I'm
worries.
listening. I think you are so amazing, and Star Crunch is gross. But I wanted to ask, how
Let's
do we
go.
reach out to like agencies that will take us as a voiceover?
Well, I'll say that most legitimate agencies want to see that you already have a body of work. So a lot of voice talent who want to get into the industry see agencies as the gatekeeper, the one and only way to find good gigs. Now that's the way it used to be until the internet really became a thing. Back in the day, the only way you're going to get any kind of work is by having someone rep you. But nowadays, like I said, if I wasn't agency repped, me doing my thing on social media would have got me opportunities. And even before any of this blew up, I was a working voice talent for about 2 or 3 years before social media really hit hard for me, and that all came from my self marketing. But anyway, I'm getting on a tangent. Start by curating your own voiceover client roster first, and that starts with self marketing by finding production companies, or finding video producers, or finding audiobook narrators, or finding sites like ACX or Upwork or Fiverr. Fiverr is kind of a whole little monster within itself, but that's another conversation. But there are other ways to self-market yourself. And once you're building a voiceover clientele, and it doesn't have to be a massive one, people just want to see that you're working and you have a few names under your body. You know what I mean? Under your belt. Why did I say under your body? That's weird. A few names under your belt. Then reach out to agencies, because agencies don't want to take you unless they can see that you're already making money. So start with self-branding first. Maybe take a year and self-market and then reach out to the agencies, because any agency that
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, I
I
can
can
hear
hear
you. I was
you.
wondering.
Okay, I wasn't sure if he
he's
froze on.
frozen.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was on my end or on his end. So, okay, we'll give it a second and
okay.
hopefully
Are we there? Hello?
Yep, you're
we're
good.
here.
Okay, so
I thought
something
it was my bad.
catastrophic
Thanks for
happened.
Camera's
internet.
still frozen, but
Oh
I can
gosh.
hear him.
You're
Okay.
good. You're
Yeah,
still
we can hear
frozen,
you,
but your
but
voice
the
is good.
picture is
Okay.
still
Technical
frozen.
difficulties.
Technical difficulties. That's wild. My thing crashed. Apologies for that. I'm not sure if my video is back up yet.
We don't see, I mean, we see your frozen screen, but we don't see you moving. So I assume you're still frozen, but we can hear you if you want to continue
Okay.
answering the question.
And let
Uh-oh,
me
sorry about
add,
that.
it could be a lot worse of a visual. It's not
Yes.
that.
Oh yeah, it's not like
Yeah,
me. It's not my mouth like gaping open or
right.
anything like that. Okay.
No, you look good.
All right. Well, as long as I look good, as long as the money maker's there, you know what I mean? All right. All good. All good. Okay. But I think I lost around the point of me saying self-market yourself. Because if you have that body of work, it'll be easier for agencies to say, okay, let's take a risk on this person. If you come in there not working, any agency, that's where I was at. Any agency that'd be willing to take you on and without you being a working talent, you be wary of them, because those are the ones that are going to tell you, oh, well, you have to give us $500 to join our roster. You know what I mean? Those are going to be the scams. So build your own body of work first and then pursue the big boys.
So Stefan, I'm going to piggyback off that a little bit with kind of another question, because I feel like this is one of those situations where you need experience to get a job, but no one will give you a chance to get experience, right? So it's
Yeah.
kind of like you need to have some jobs under your belt, but how do you even start? Like, do you do a couple of free gigs just to get that exposure, and then kind of start charging people a little bit after that? Like, what do you recommend as far as them starting? And then I know
Yeah.
Fiverr, we've always said, is kind of, we don't love to recommend that one, but I think I've heard some good things about maybe Voices 123. Does that one sound like, are there
Well,
any websites you would recommend, I guess?
I would suggest Upwork. Upwork is a very solid
Oh,
website. But with that said, that's almost the same thing, because you have to have a demo, and they're gonna favor people who have like some kind of a resume, who have some kind of oh, here's who I've worked for. You know what I mean? But with that said, as far as where to start off with, you never have to start off working for free, because like we're all startups, we're all startup voice actors. There are startup companies who need talent, who probably can't afford the Don LaFontaines, the Joe Ciprianos, you know what I mean, the Beth Greens of the world, the big voice talents. But maybe you guys can work out a deal, even if it's just $50 to voice their voicemail, or $50 or $100 to voice their local TV commercial, something like that. You know what I mean? You build a small clientele from there. And then as you are, building these names and building this roster or whatever it is, those are names and companies that you can put on your resume, your online profile, your online dossier. And you just gradually grow from there. So start small, reach out to the smaller companies first. Don't immediately reach out to Coca-Cola and expect to get hired from self-marketing, but start small.
okay. Thank you. I think you can turn your camera back on, I think, because
Oh,
you might have gotten bumped, and I had to put you as a presenter again. So
gotcha.
it should be good. There we go. Awesome. Okay. I remember in previous conversations, you were always huge on the self-marketing.
Mhm.
And I know that that's been a big catalyst for you in kind of pushing your brand and moving you forward. So that's
Mhm.
some great advice.
For sure.
All right, we've got a couple more hands raised. And then I know we've got a couple questions in the chat just so that I don't lose those. I know one of the questions, well, we kind of talked about, is there a certain place online to get your voice out there? And we've talked a little bit about maybe Upwork or some of the other websites that you feel comfortable, they feel comfortable with. But
Mhm.
the big thing is maybe just doing some demos and sharing them on social media and getting that out. Someone did ask, Jay Evan asked, I do a podcast based on IG and transitioning to YouTube. In doing so, I want to expand and grow my base and monetize. Do you have any suggestions for that?
Just because the chat started over for me, can you repeat that one more time? The question.
Yes. Yes. Jay says, I do a podcast based on IG and transitioning to YouTube. In doing so, I want to expand and grow my base and monetize. What would you suggest?
It just that's just a matter of one, as far as IG goes, you want to use relevant hashtags and post consistently. Like I'm not like if your podcast is if it's about IG, or when you said it's about IG, did you mean it's just on IG, or if it's about like social media, like it's about the platform? But whatever your podcast is about, make sure you're. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's on IG.
It's
Oh, I
on
got you.
IG.
Oh, got you, got you. So whatever the podcast is about, just make sure you're using relevant hashtags because just like we search, aimlessly through the, scrolling or whatnot, there are people who specifically use IG by searching relevant hashtags to whatever they're interested in. Like me, I'll go on and just like type in Marvel, and then anyone who's used Marvel hashtags in their post comes up, and that's how I, get a lot of my Marvel content. So make sure you're using the crap out of hashtags. And I think you're allowed to use up to 30 hashtags. Use all of them. Anything that relates to your industry, even vaguely, and people are going to be discover your content from that. And it'll be a trickle. It'll be a slow trickle of people following you and engaging with your posts. But again, eventually that trickle will turn into a stream, into a river, into an ocean. But you just got to be consistent with it.
That's awesome. I think that's great advice with the hashtags. So hopefully those that didn't know it can kind of take advantage of that a little bit. Zach does ask about being political. How detrimental can being political be? So I know you kind of mentioned earlier you want to be a little controversial, but not too controversial.
Yeah.
So do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, what I'll say is if you're going to be controversial, you have to lean completely into it and realize it's going to affect your brand. Now, I have a voiceover buddy, actually one of my former coaches, Terry Daniels. His TikTok is very political. He believes one thing and he'll let you know it. He'll let you know it. And you have to be prepared that you may turn off half of your potential audience with it. But some people find, comfort in that by knowing that they're only going to be working with people who have the same values as them. So that's one thing too. And I have a bunch of buddies who are pastors, a bunch of buddies who are like ministers of music. So the vast majority of their content is about, their religious beliefs, and that's their brand. And they're happy with only having followers who are of the same faith. If that's going to be your brand, fall into it. You know what I mean? And be happy with it. But you just got to be prepared that you may kind of limit your overall potential reach. But there's nothing wrong with expressing your views online. That's what social media is for.
Okay. So as long as you go into prepared,
Yeah.
that's fair game. Just know what you're getting into.
Hmm.
All right, let's keep going through the hands. I see Jaleesa, you have a hand up.
Hey, good evening. Yes. I just want to say first, thank you, Stefan. Am I saying that correctly,
You
Stefan?
got me. You got me, Stefan. Thank you.
Thank you so much for dropping your gems. Definitely just posted tagged you on Instagram too.
Nice. I'll follow
Um,
back.
appreciate the time. So I came into Miami Media School as a performing artist, and in that journey, I just started it. I realized there was just a lot on the back end that I, really needed to know, but also fell in love with. And even coming into the school, I just discovered so much about myself. So really, I want to be like this radio personality. Um, but I also keep getting like, pulled and get demands for other things like, being an actress or being a model or being a voiceover actress, in fact. So I wanted to get, I guess, advice or insight on like, or I guess your perspective or opinion on how do you feel about, I guess, you know, taking on gigs in other areas of the industry like that, or like, is it even a possible thing? Is it a wise step to take when you're first kind of starting out in the entertainment industry in this kind of way? Like, yeah, what is your angle on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about time management as well, because it is very beneficial to kind of put something in every hat, what I mean, sparingly, because you don't want to become one of those jacks of all trades but masters of none, you know what I mean? But I'll say me, I do a lot. I'm in two bands, so I play music. I do screen acting, of course I do the voiceover thing, and then I do my social media thing, and I'm also like a kind of a food reviewer. Like a good portion of my income comes from me reviewing food. So I do a lot, you know what I mean? But if you do it right, one opportunity or one dream will help you with the other one, because my visibility on social media has gotten me a lot of opportunities to be on screen, like doing movies and doing like I was in Cherry, that movie they filmed here in Cleveland, Ohio. I was in that. I got a speaking role in that out of the freaking blue. And that led to me meeting a radio producer who was also on set, and then I ended up voicing some spots for him. You know what I mean? So if you do it right and do it with your full chest, there's nothing wrong with, just pursuing multiple things, but you just have to make sure if you're going to do multiple things, you have to do them all with your full chest, and you can't,
Right.
half, I can't cuss here, but half it, because, you just don't want to waste your time at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So,
Thank
okay,
you.
I'm sorry.
Elisa, I'm sorry. We only have 4 minutes left, so I hate to cut you off, but I'm gonna move on. I know this is something really important that probably a lot of people are wondering is about the demo, Stefan. We talk a lot about that, and I know for me personally, Ohio Media School and the other media schools, we don't teach voiceover. We touch on it, but we don't
Mhm.
teach it. So anytime someone has a question on how to do a voiceover demo, I do like to send them to your website, because I've seen that you have a variety of different ones. And I know that voiceover demos, a lot of times, the whole idea is that you want to show your range. But what advice can you give? I see that
Yeah.
you put something in the chat. What advice can you give on creating that demo?
You want to find a coach first. You want someone. Ohio Media School does an amazing job with getting you comfortable behind the mic, and they do an amazing job getting you comfortable with like creating copy and being that personality on. And that's one thing that I'm hoping to work more with John and Huda and Linda with, getting more of a voiceover centric um, um, curriculum going. Just my time is the only thing that's stopping us, my schedule. But anyway, to bring it all back, you want to find a voiceover coach, because you don't want to cut a voiceover demo without knowing how to properly read copy convincingly, without knowing the trends of the industry, without knowing how to work a mic, whether you're going to do an intimate read right up on the mic, or if you're going to do a big booming thing and know how to work the mic from afar. You want to work with a coach to make sure that demo you're going to end up paying a couple $1,000s for potentially is going to be the absolute best it can. So work with a voiceover coach. And I put a link in there, gvaa.com. It may be .org. I'm not on my browser right now, but the Global Voice Acting Academy is one of the most solid voice acting schools around. The majority of the big names have worked with these coaches there, and it's not going to break the pocketbooks. You know what I mean? So, but even just Googling voiceover coach and just finding someone you're comfortable with will be a great way to start. But get a coach. Please don't record a demo without getting a coach or learning something about the industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Stefan, did you say it is Global Voice Acting Academy?
Yep, the Global Voice Acting Academy. I think their
Okay, I'll put
abbreviation
the
is.
link in because it's actually globalvoiceacademy.com. So I'll drop
Uh,
that in the chat.
no. Oh, me,
No?
give
I
me
think
one
it's two
second.
links.
I just want to make sure it's the right thing because
Okay.
there are some posers out there, unfortunately. GVAA.org. Nope. Sorry, I know we have limited time.
No, I
Oh,
mean,
you're
it's up
okay.
to you.
We're
We
not
need
limited.
to let you go over. This one does look like, I'll let you look it up because I don't know it. I've never used it, but it does come up right away when I put in GVAA.
I
Oh,
thought I
nope, you are
tagged
right.
you.
Yep, globalvoiceactingacademy.com. You are
Okay,
right. Yep,
great. Okay, I will share that in the chat. Do we have time? Do you have time for one
I
last
have time.
question?
I have as
Okay.
much time as you need.
Okay. I
Mhm.
know that Helene has had her hand up for a while, so I wanted to get to her. Go ahead, Helene.
You know what? I was just asking, just for our own encouragement, how many voice reels did you have to send out before you started getting
That's a good one.
bookings?
Oh
It'll
man.
help me. Just
Oh
it'll
no.
help me just keep going.
Oh no, I feel you. Well, I'll tell you this. I graduated broadcasting school in 2009. Started taking it seriously probably around 2012. I didn't really start getting income from it until about 2015, so probably about 3 years there. And then I didn't make it my full-time gig until about 2018. So looking at about 9 years since I graduated media school before I started really making this a career. So it could be a grind.
I'm way too old for 9 years.
No,
Wait,
no.
wait.
Well, that's another thing, though. That's another thing, though. I have a buddy, Gabe Kunda. Yeah, you may see him. He has accomplished what I have not yet. He is 25 years old, and he is the movie voice of every movie trailer you hear right now. Damn near every movie trailer right now. He started it when he was 22, and here he is 25. So it took him about 3 years. But again, he made a crazy jump at the age of 25. And he's been doing it for about 2 years. So it really only took him about a year to get to that point. He just met the right people. And, so sometimes it's that grind and sometimes you can just catch a break, but you got to be
Yeah.
Yeah,
consistent.
I literally did like just a weird Snapchat like McDonald's voiceover, just practicing and filmed it
Yeah.
and put it on my reel. I hit
Yeah.
1,800 hits in 10 minutes.
That's amazing. And you see, it could just hit that. Just get that the God looking at you, the social media gods looking down on you, and they may just say, you know what, you're the one today, and you blow up. You know what I mean? So it can happen. You just got to put yourself out there.
It's so
Visibility,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
I
visibility is our biggest ability, is our greatest ability sometimes.
It's good. I just want to add one more thing too for everybody listening.
Mhm.
Really don't look at life as I don't have this, I don't have that time wise, because you don't know what you don't know. Just as Stefan just said, your day could be tomorrow, but if you aren't putting it out there and getting that content rolling, you're never going to find your day. And that sounds hokey and whatnot, but it's the God's honest truth. So do today what it is you want to do, and don't worry about how long is it going to take, because nobody really knows that. You might be that lucky one that just hits it out of the park. It was your day, just like Stefan said. So don't
Absolutely.
give up on I don't have that many years. Don't do that.
Definitely. Definitely.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I mean, Anthony, I don't know if I asked your question about the demo, but I see that your hand is up. Do you have one last question before we wrap it up?
Actually, that was one of them, although to be fair, that was on behalf of everyone. And my very last one, home studio, does every inch of the wall need to be covered in the acoustic foam panels?
Nope. It depends on your room and it depends on your outside environment too. And also it depends on so many different
It's
factors.
a
It depends on
utility closet.
that works. That's how mine was a small walk-in closet for the first 4 years of my career. I feel you. But I think the industry standard says you want to have about 50 to 75% covered. But again, you can kind of get away with it. Like, let's say, like if you just have a lot of furniture in your room, if you're in the closet, if you have a bunch of clothes in the closet, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
there's clothes covering the rack part, and the rack's like built in with the
Oh
apartment.
yeah. Yeah, boss. If you have enough clothes in there and you maybe put like a small carpet to cancel out any reflections from the floor, you're probably good. And it doesn't take a whole lot. You know what I mean? And you
Well,
build as the income comes in.
I already bought a sizable amount from Amazon. Maybe I'll just send you pictures once I get it all.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. And if you already bought it, go ahead and put it up. Use what you got, but just be prepared to invest steadily into it because you don't have to start off with the best and the brightest right now.
And
Yeah, I've already
Stefan,
got.
if you follow Stefan on social media, you will see that he is the king of creative creative spaces when it comes to his recordings.
You got it. You got it. Absolutely.
He
Like
finds a way to make it work.
I've recorded national commercials in hotel rooms and in my car. You got to make it happen. You got to find a way. You got to get paid.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, for anybody on here, if you're not following Stefan, you need to, because if you find yourself up in the middle of the night with nothing to do, like go get inspired by listening to something he's doing, because he is the guy. Like he will inspire you to go out and set up pillows and whatnot in a hotel just so you can do what you need to do. Yeah,
Absolutely.
what you have to do. Are there any other questions? How are we doing on that,
No, I
Hud?
think we're good. And I think I covered all the ones in the chat, but if I missed any questions, please feel free to email them to me or Linda. We would be happy to pass them along, try to get them answered for you. And this webinar was recorded. So for anyone that maybe missed part of it or would just like to kind of go back and revisit some of the information, I will send that out to everyone that was registered by probably early next week.
Yep, that's
Very good.
awesome. Yeah, that's
Thank
great,
you.
great information.
And
Oh,
Linda Huda,
yeah.
is there any way, just because my thing cut in and out, I lost half the chat, and I would really like to follow everybody back who put their social medias in the chat. Is there any way like you guys can give me like the transcript of that? Does that exist? Is that possible?
I
So I can
believe I can do something like that. Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
Okay, even if
Yeah,
it's just
and
like
that, you know
copy
what?
and
I'll do
pasting.
that for everyone. That would be great because they did take the time to put that in there. So
Mhm.
when I send out the recording, I will include the chat area. That's a great idea.
Very
That's
good. Thank
great
you.
stuff. And so that like really is a great way to end. It's all about networking, right? It's
Mhm.
about learning and listening and networking and always looking to that person to your right and to your left as somebody who could really be in your corner, not somebody
For
who's there
sure.
to fight you,
For sure.
because together you're going to learn so much. And for me, as I have followed you over the years, the one thing that I notice, on your posts are all the other voiceover artists that check in, they have comments, and LinkedIn is my favorite food group, and I would
Yes.
highly encourage, all of you,
Yes.
take a look at the people that you're following. Follow Stefan and see who's following him and
Mhm.
reach out. Let them know I'm a student, I'm a graduate, I'm getting started. I like what you're doing. I heard your voiceover. Can you make some recommendations? I'm here in this area or that area. Use that network, right? Because that network is probably the biggest gift you can give yourself aside of your time, your grind, and just investing in yourself. So, Stefan, it's been our greatest pleasure to have you here tonight. You had colleagues on this call that have graduated. I've noticed different names years ago, and they really wanted to hear what you're up to, and I know it was great joy for them. So, thank you, and we will follow up that everybody can share their information, and I hope that everybody will join us again when we come back on the third week of July, I think. Wait, no, we're there right now. Be the first week in August.
First
COVID
week in
does
August.
that,
Yep.
right? COVID just does that. Where are we in the year? Okay. So yeah, I love that you can laugh at me. Thank you everybody for joining us. And Stefan, it's been great. And don't forget to use that email to reach out.
It's been my pleasure, you guys. Great chatting with you. Again, reach out to me on social media. I plan on following you guys back. And, if you need anything, I'm here.
I do. Good deal. Thank you. Thanks, Stefan.
Hey, Stefan, I'm sorry, I didn't raise my hand. Are you free next week, brother?
Am I free next week? Next week, I'm actually moving, and then I'm actually going to be at a voiceover conference.
A simple no would have been suffice for busy guy.
But I got you on the next go around, boss man.
Appreciate it. Turn
Oh.
the 14.